hunters, fellow peoples. This is my reset video. I am going into this 2021 season in less than a month. September 1st is our opener with a new mind, a new set, a new focus on things that I want to do, and I want to do it my way. Why I say that is because I have followed the hunting public and mostly Dan Infalt. Dan's a great guy. He's taught me a ton. He is a good one to follow. The hunting public is very good to follow too. I really followed Dan, and I was actually pretty friendly with Dan for a few years, and we had a kind of a falling out over a deer stand, and it's ridiculous. I followed Dan to the T. I was doing like almost everything like Dan and certain other guys on the hunting beast would tell me to do. And it really, I noticed, and you know what, it works for them. It really does. But I wasn't getting what I was supposed to be getting. And Dan does say this in a lot of ways, like it takes time. And my problem is I was getting busted all the time. I wasn't realizing how bedding was being used by certain bucks. I was getting on bucks and getting on a lot of deer, but I wasn't realizing how these bucks were using these certain beds or certain bedding areas. I have a little video that I'm going to run right now and kind of show you how this certain buck, I just found this last week, and it's taken me this long of progression. Like, this is going into like the almost 5th year of bedding tactics. So just check this little video out. It's really cool, and I'll talk a little bit about this and how these bucks are using, like these guys are saying, and I'm going to try to simplify it. So I'm going to go over on Onyx or Google Earth and show you how this buck is set up and how he's using the terrain, watching human entry, and watching the open woods to his advantage. So stay tuned. Check this out. Jace, there's a big buck bed right under that tree right there. And there's big rubs all around here. One there, one there. And this is up on a knob, and it sinks that all around them. All rises in the morning here up on top of the knob, if I'm thinking correctly. And he could see anything coming from in front of him laying that. Look how far you can see through these woods even in August. A long, long ways, man. And guys don't even realize it. My point is with this is that specific buck bed has a reason why that buck is in that bed. He has all the advantages, and he is covering everything around him for safety reasons, for where he can either see somebody coming, he can see them little legs coming through them woods towards them or across them or whatever, as you can see in that little video clip, and the wind coming out of in that specific bed, it would be the east over his back from the ditch, knowing nothing's coming from the ditch, but he's still got his butt covered with the wind coming up, and it's kind of swirly. In the morning, that bed, everything is lifting to him. Thermals are all lifting up to him, up to around his area, and he can smell everything around him, especially on the sides and behind him, because everything is lifting like that, because he's on like a knob where it's a higher elevation all around him, and it drops off. And behind him it drops off, and to the sides it drops off. So everything's rising in the morning and out, and that finger going into that woods like that spreads out, and he can see that open woods. He's just watching that open woods, man. That's it. Guys are going on these channels, and they're going out and doing exactly what they've been told to do, like I did for a couple of years. And it's frustrating because you're going out, you're listening to these guys tell you what to do, and they're killing these monster bucks. You look behind them, there's 25 giant racks on the wall Well, who the hell's not going to listen to a guy that tells you to do something that has that many bucks on the wall behind him? When you get information from these guys, you need to consider, don't literally take it and mimic it like a lot of guys do. A lot of guys will go to, like, Dan Info has these workshops every year. They're great, man. They're fantastic. You'll learn a lot. I went to a 3-day one-on-one with him back in 17 or 18. It was great. I learned a ton. But I came home with the mindset, I go find buck beds, I'm going to kill these big bucks, these mature bucks. That is, in my progression, the total wrong mindset to be in. It's not just about finding buck beds like Dan Infalt and them guys are trying to throw out there. That's not what it's about. They are really good guys. They're educating people on buck beds and how good you can be with bedding. But, you know, you need to find out, like I said, why are they using these buck beds? If you go out and find a bed, say we go out and you figure, oh man, there's a big bed like I just showed you on that clip. You need to figure out, okay, what's the terrain doing in that area? What's going on in that area? How much pressure is in that area? How is guys entering that area? That's a big thing. And where is the food source in that area? So in that specific bed, I took and broke it down, and I sat there in the bed. Which I'm probably not supposed to this time of year, but I thought it was a very interesting bed. So I sat down in the bed and I broke it down in this way. I said, okay, this buck has a big giant ditch full of water behind him, covering his back, as I'll show you on Google Earth. Second, that's one. Second, the wind was coming in several days in the last days that I looked at that bed. I looked back in the weather history. It was winds coming over his back, crossing him, or it wasn't dead like, you know, coming over his back. It was a crosswind like this, or a crosswind like this. So it covered everything. And in the morning, all the thermals are going to rise as the sun comes up. Heat rises, and it's going to raise all them thermals to that area where that buck bed is. So that is the information that you need to find and need to try to break down in order to be, I don't want to say successful, but like in order to understand why the buck is bedding in that specific area or spot. All right, guys, see this buck bed. And when you see this, this is all lower. This all down in here, this side and down here drops down into this ditch, and then this drops down to the ditch. So in the morning, everything is rising to this big knob where this buck bed is, and he's laying here most likely on these crosswinds. I'm not sure. He probably is on a direct wind over his back, but he's probably laying here on these crosswinds big time, especially this one over here, because he could smell anything from coming in this way or coming in, sneaking in from this way, which the hunters will come from that way more than this way. And he's laying in his bed and he's looking forward in open woods. This is all open woods with hollies, just like, and this is just what you're looking at when you watch that little clip that was on earlier. So that's it, real brief and simple. That's it, guys. I just pretty much take what you can from all these channels out here and try to implement it in a plan that is going to work for you. This stuff takes time, man. You are not, just do not expect to go out and find buck beds and then sit over them and have all these bucks running by you. It just doesn't happen. That's why they bed the way they do, so they don't die. So they really use the terrain and the wind to their favor. And when you find these buck bedding areas and buck beds, you need to find out for yourself how the deer are using that specific bed or bedding area in their advantage. And, these guys will give you little tips and stuff like that to what to look for, but you really need to find that on your own. And the only way to do that is to really mess up, man, to really screw up and get winded and getting seen. And, this takes a lot of progression. And I am still on that journey of still learning every time I go out there, but I got a little bit of it down now. So see what happens this year, man. Guys, don't get discouraged. Keep at it. Try to learn something every time you're in the woods, man, and it will pay off in the end. Have patience. Don't get discouraged, and be safe doing this, man. And as usual, appreciate you watching. Appreciate the support. And as always, subscribe and like to the Bucksack. Peace.